The incredible journeys begin. Sofia lived in a small, quiet town. Her favorite time of the year was autumn. The air became cool, and the leaves on the trees turned yellow, red, and brown. But there was another reason she loved autumn. It was the season of the travelers. One crisp afternoon, Sofia was in her garden with her grandmother. She looked up at the sky. A huge group of large white birds was flying overhead. There were hundreds of them. They flew in a big, organized V shape, making soft sounds as they passed over her town. "Grandma, look!" Sofia shouted, pointing at the sky. "The storks are leaving." Her grandmother smiled. "Yes, my dear. Their long journey is starting now. They're flying south for the winter." "Why do they leave?" Sofia asked. "Our town is nice." "It is nice," her grandmother agreed. "But soon it will be cold, and it will be difficult for them to find food. So they migrate. They fly to a warmer place, far away in Africa. In the spring, when our town is warm again, they will come back." Sofia watched the birds until they were just small dots in the sky. She thought about their journey. Africa was so far away. She looked at it on a map in her school book. It was thousands of miles across land and sea. How did they know where to go? How did they fly for so long? The birds were like amazing adventurers. She wanted to know their secrets. This was the beginning of Sofia's fascination with the incredible journeys of birds. She understood that migration was not just a holiday for them. It was a deep, powerful instinct. It was a behavior that was essential for their survival. They had to travel to find food and a safe place to have their babies. Every year, millions of birds all over the world started these epic journeys, unveiling the mysteries of navigation. Sofia went to the local library. She found a book with a beautiful picture of a bird on the cover. The book was called Nature's Great Travelers. She took it home and started to read. She discovered that the book was full of the secrets she was looking for. She learned that birds were expert navigators, its special abilities to find their way across the world. The book explained that birds used many different techniques. First, they used the sun. During the day, the sun was like a compass for them. They could see the position of the sun in the sky and know which direction was north, south, east, or west. But what about on cloudy days or at night? Sofia wondered. She turned the page and found the answer. At night, they used the stars. The night sky was their map. They recognized the patterns of the stars, especially the North Star, which always stayed in the same place. Then, Sofia read about their most amazing secret. Birds had a special sense that humans did not have. They could feel the Earth's magnetic field. The Earth is like a giant magnet with a North Pole and a South Pole. Birds could feel this invisible field. It was like they had a secret built-in compass in their brains. This helped them to stay on the correct route, even in bad weather or over the open ocean, where there were no landmarks. The book told the story of one special bird, the Arctic tern. Sofia looked at the picture of this bird. It was small and white, with a black cap on its head. But this small bird was the world champion of migration. The Arctic tern's journey was mind-blowing. Flew from the Arctic at the very top of the world all the way to the Antarctic at the very bottom of the world. And then it flew all the way back again in the same year. It was a journey of about 44,000 miles. That was like flying around the world twice. The book said the Arctic tern sees more daylight than any other creature on Earth, because it lives in the Arctic summer and then the Antarctic summer. Sofia closed the book. She was in awe. These birds were not just travelers. They were incredible pilots with amazing navigational skills. Amazing adaptations for survival. Sofia continued to read her book. She learned that to make these long journeys, birds needed to be very well prepared. They had amazing adaptations, special features that helped them to survive. First, they prepared their bodies. Before they started their migration, birds ate a lot of food. They ate all day. They needed to gain weight. But this was not unhealthy fat. It was a special fat reserve. This fat was their fuel for the long flight. Some small birds could almost double their body weight before they left. Second, they were very efficient flyers. Sofia remembered the V shape of the storks. Her book explained why they did that. The bird at the front works the hardest. It breaks the air. The birds behind it have an easier flight because the air is already moving. They save a lot of energy by flying in this formation. They take turns being the leader, so no single bird gets too tired. Sofia also learned that many birds, especially smaller ones, migrate at night. This was a smart strategy. The air at night is often calmer, so it is easier to fly. It is also cooler, so they do not get too hot from flying for many hours. And most importantly, flying at night helped them to avoid predators like hawks and eagles, which hunt during the day, but the journey was still full of challenges. Migrating birds faced many dangers. A sudden storm could push them off course or be very dangerous. Finding food and clean water along the way was not always easy, especially if they had to cross a big desert or a wide ocean. And there were always predators waiting for a tired bird to make a mistake. Sofia thought about the small Arctic tern. She imagined it flying for days and days, non-stop, over the cold gray ocean. She understood that these birds showed incredible feats of endurance and resilience. They were small, but they were incredibly strong and determined. The importance of bird migration one day. Sofia's teacher invited a guest to their class. His name was Mr. David, and he was a conservationist. He worked to protect nature. He talked to the class about migratory birds. "These birds are not just beautiful visitors," Mr. David said. "They are very important for the health of our planet. Their migration plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of ecosystems." He explained that when birds eat fruits and berries, they travel to new places. The seeds from the fruit come out in their droppings. This way, the birds plant new trees and plants in new areas. "They are like flying gardeners," he said with a smile. "They also help us by eating insects," he continued. "A single flock of birds can eat millions of insects. This helps to control pests that can damage our farms and forests." But then, Mr. David's face became more serious. Unfortunately, human activities are making these important journeys more and more difficult for the birds. He showed them pictures of forests that were cut down and wetlands that were drained to build cities and farms. These places were like hotels for the migrating birds, he explained. They were important stopover sites, places where the birds could rest and refuel. When we destroy these habitats, the birds have nowhere to stop. They cannot find food, and they cannot complete their journey. He also talked about climate change. He explained that because the climate is getting warmer, the seasons are changing. The spring might come earlier. The insects that the birds eat might appear before the birds arrive. When the birds finally finish their long journey, they might find that the food is already gone. This is a big problem for them and their new babies, the future of bird migration, challenges, and hope. Sofia felt sad after listening to Mr. David. It seemed like humans were creating so many problems for these amazing creatures. At the end of the talk, she raised her hand. "Wait, what will happen to the birds in the future?" she asked. "Can we help them?" Mr. David's face brightened. "That is the most important question," he said. "The answer is yes, we can help them. There is still hope." He told them about the work of conservationists and scientists all over the world. They were working together to protect the birds. We're creating protected areas like national parks and wildlife reserves along their migration routes. These are safe places for the birds to rest and eat. Scientists are also using new technology to study the birds, he explained. They put tiny lightweight trackers on the birds. These trackers are like little backpacks. They send signals to a satellite so we can follow the bird's exact journey on a computer. This helps us understand their routes and identify the most important stopover sites that we need to protect. He looked at all the children in the classroom. "And all of you can help too," he said. "You can help by learning about the birds in your area. You can put up bird feeders in your gardens, especially during the cold winter. You can help keep our environment clean. You can tell your friends and family why these birds are so important. Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference," he finished. Sofia felt a new feeling. It was not sadness, it was inspiration. She felt a strong desire to help these feathered adventurers. When she got home, she told her grandmother everything she learned. Together, they built a small bird feeder and filled it with seeds. The next morning, a small robin with a bright red chest came to the feeder. Sofia watched it from her window. It was not a long-distance migrant like the storks, but it was a part of the amazing world of birds. Sofia knew that the challenges were big, but she also knew that there was hope. As long as there were people who cared and people who acted, the beautiful symphony of bird migration would continue to grace the skies for many years to come. She looked forward to the spring, when she would welcome the storks back home.